So, I want to offer a spicy hot take on the way that so many people in the metal community have reacted to the success of the band Sleep Token. But I also want to talk about my love of the band Sleep Token. Uh, I discovered Sleep Token not too long ago, late last year, I think, and so I've really been getting into Take Me Back to Eden, which is the most recent album, and I've listened to the other two a little bit, but that mainly this most recent one I've just been entranced with, and it's been one of my favorite albums of the year, and it has just blown me away. And I was initially interested because I've always had an affinity for bands and artists that wear masks, just because there's always there's something new that emerges when when art, or something cool that emerges when artists put on masks and identify themselves that way, where I think it's because our facial, the facial apparatus, it's the basis, or the face is the basis for social connection, and consequently the face of the artist is the thing that establishes rapport with the listener. So when an artist eschews that altogether, it feels like you're not dealing so much with the person as much as you are their inner shadow self. All of those darker, deeper things can emerge. And, I was reading in Metal Hammer this month where Vessel from Sleep Token was talking about how he remains anonymous and wears this outfit on stage because it allows people to see the person that he really is. And I don't think that's just him being being pretentious or posing or something like that. I really think there's something to that. When you take your normal human image out of the equation, something darker and deeper and more creative, naturally creative, emerges. And so I've always loved, I got into the Residents really young, and that got me into Buckethead and Nash the Slash and Slipknot and Ghost. And there's a recently emergent band called Glass Beams that I've been listening to, and Ostrich Von Nipple, and so many other people like this. And I really love, I love what emerges when everybody's wearing masks. It doesn't always work. I'm not really a fan of Hollywood Undead or something like that, but it's just so cool. So that made them interesting to me, but they still have to deliver the goods. And what I love about the sound of Sleep Token is they have got at their very core, you could take the songs of Sleep Token and make them into a very accessible indie rock band, like something like something like a Neutral Milk Hotel or a Kula Shankar or something like that, or the Decemberists or something. Well, the Decemberists are more prog rock than they are indie rock, but you get where I'm coming from. Iron and Wine or something like that, like a very accessible indie rock act. They've got this thing at their core, and then they have fortified that with first a layer of hard rock, heavy metal ambience. They've taken all of the post rock, post metal sounds that we associate with bands like ISIS and Mogwai, and don't knock that off. ISIS and Mogwai, and speaking of Mogwai, and then the and post metal bands like Sun, and yes, I mean Sun as in SUNN, zero, close parentheses, close parentheses, close parentheses, all of that. But anyway, they've taken all of that and they've contorted it, morphed it, shaped it around these very accessible indie pop songs. And then on top of that, they've added this layer of sonic experimentation where they're incorporating things like trap beats and EDM, bits of EDM and things like that. And it's all coming together. It all comes together so smoothly and beautifully in this thing that is very dark and somber, and in this odd way, very comforting. And so I love what they're doing, and it's so cool. And sadly, you have the the usual suspects in the metal community at large that are complaining about Sleep Token, that Sleep Token is not metal, that anyone who likes Sleep Token is not metal, that anyone who likes Sleep Token is some derogatory word for a homosexual, and that sort of thing, and all of this crap starts to emerge. And I want to try this. This is my hopefully calmly delivered spicy hot take to the metal community writ large. And it is this. Look, I have been if you value the metal community, and I think that the people who complain like this are the people who value the metal community and metal music the least. If you value this music, you need to be championing the success of bands like Sleep Token, even if it's not what you're particularly into. Because what's really at the heart of this is just a crabs in a bucket mentality. And I have been a part of the metal community for decades, and I know this firsthand. It is one of the most toxic and consistently pervasive aspects of the metal community, is the crabs in a bucket mentality. The idea that the nanosecond a band starts to break through and starts to get huge and starts to get famous, everybody is expected to start douching on them immediately. And it started 30 years ago with Metallica, and it's continued ever since. 30 plus years ago at this point with Metallica, and it's continued ever since. Every time a band breaks through, we have to pretend like they're not metal, and everybody who likes them is not metal, and et cetera, and all of this crap. And I will say this. I have played in metal bands. I've played in all kinds of bands. I've played in metal bands. I've played in extreme metal bands. I've played in mainstream hard rock bands. I've played in bands that were somewhere between the two. My current band, which is my band, is a power metal project. And, all kinds of stuff. I've played everything you imagine. And outside of metal, I've played jazz gigs. I've played smooth acoustic guitar for a guy that hired me to play while he was proposing to his fiance or his girlfriend. And I've played, ambient guitar sounds for a spoken word poet that hired me to accompany him, and all kinds of weird stuff like that. And here's the thing. Once in a while, I'll find myself on the bill with one of these, traditional metal bands, one of these true metal bands, true spelled TR00, true metal bands. And inevitably, and it can be a metal band that's like, a traditional thrash metal band or a traditional black metal band or something like that. And inevitably, what happens when I'm playing with one of these artists is that there's always, playing on the stage, I should say, sharing a stage with one of these bands, then always there's three guys standing at the back of the room in denim jackets and leather accents, and all of this, and they've done themselves up to look exactly like metalheads from 1981. They've even gotten mulleted haircuts or something like that, and they've arranged themselves to look exactly like, it's like one guy's in a denim vest and one guy's wearing a leather biker jacket and all of this, and maybe one of them's put on corpse paint. Like, they've got always two or three of these guys at the back of the room, and they stand there like this the entire time, and they just stand there and stare daggers at you the entire time. And these are the guys that, if you read what they post on forums, on heavy metal forums, they're the guys that are getting on there and they're like, LOL, the only thing that has ever been true metal is the first 30 seconds of track 4 off of the third Dark Throne album. And everything else, if you listen to anything else, you're not metal and fuck you and all of this stuff. And I cannot think of anything more, I cannot think of a more worthless way to spend your time than being that person. Like, the totality of your existence is to impress on everyone around you, everyone that's unfortunate enough to have to listen to you, that you're not having a good time. You think you are so goddamn important and so goddamn special, and your opinion is so goddamn important, that the nanosecond anybody puts even a tiny toe over the line outside of whatever you've decided is true, spelled TR00, metal, you're going to impress on the entire world with your lofty opinion from on high that you are unsatisfied, that this does not meet with your approval. And you just have to make sure everyone knows that you're not having a good time. Now, I say that, and inevitably in the comments, I'm going to get somebody that's like, LOL. Maybe if you want respect within the heavy metal community, you should not go around shitting on the entire metal community like you just did. I didn't shit on the entire metal community. I shit on the 3 twats that stand in the back of the room and act like assholes. And if that's your response, you know, as the saying goes, the struck dog barks loudest. It makes me kind of think that you may be one of those twats that stands in the back of the room and acts like an asshole. And for the politically correct out there, I mean twat as in an impudent, annoying person, not a woman, just some dude being an asshole. But anyway, and so these people these very noisy, irritating people who consider themselves to be true metalheads and all of the metal fans and all of this shit. First of all, you just need to understand that the reason that everybody looks at someone like the angry video game nerd or the 2 assholes in the balcony on the Muppet Show or anything, people like that, and laughs at them is because we all know that people like that are pathetic. And the fact that you're wearing spiky arm gauntlets and a spiky choker while you're standing in the back, it does not make you any less pathetic than the 2 old guys in the Muppet Show balcony. And I say this because these people, these people, one of the metal forums I follow on Facebook posted a meme that was an AI generated image of this little boy opening a Christmas present and opening a Christmas present, and he's crying, and all of the adults are laughing and pointing middle fingers at him, and the record that he's holding is the present that he's opened is a Sleep Token album. And I am just, I commented on that, and I'm like, I don't get the hatred of Sleep Token, and understand most of the people write back with, hey, if you like it, it's fine. I'm just posting memes. If you like it, it's fine. It's your call, man. Most people are totally cool. But then you get the 3 twats in the back of the room that have to make sure everybody knows that they're not having a good time. And it's so bizarre to me because that happened a little while ago, and then it's like every metal forum I'm logging onto now, it's like open season on Sleep Token. Everybody, all of every time you're dealing with one of these people that's one of the 3 twats in the back of the room, the first thing they have to tell you is how much they hate Sleep Token. And I'm saying this because I did this today with a guy, got into this today with a guy that was like, the meme that was posted was, it was a meme of some person in a movie listening to music on headphones, and it says metalheads enjoying music, and then it says, and then the next panel shows some guy from another movie looking downwards like this with a very haughty look on his face, and it says other metalheads about to tell them that the music they listen to isn't metal. And the first comment was some guy saying, look man, if it's Sleep Token, it's not metal. And if he said if it's Sleep Token, Death Clock, or Baby Metal, it's not metal. Now I love Death Clock as well, and I don't listen to Baby Metal at all. I kind of feel like their fan base should register with the state. But anyway, the but it's like, but I'm just like, God, why is Sleep Token at the front of the front of your mind with all this? And I think it just has to be the crabs in a bucket mentality. Whoever is successful has to be shit on in the metal community. And here's the thing, that is an incredibly toxic and negative mindset to have, and it is hurting the community that you claim to care about. Now, here's the thing. The three twats in the back that have to scowl at everybody and make sure everyone knows what a bad time they're having, what they want is for heavy metal to be, they want every heavy metal concert to be played to a half dozen people in somebody's backyard. You're supposed to, like, there's supposed to be about as many people in the audience as there are members in the band, and it's supposed to be in somebody's backyard, and you put on your spiky arm gauntlets and your corpse paint, and you do some helicopter drumming, and that's it. That's all they want metal to be. And for some reason, they get really antsy if metal bands are playing to any degree of success. Sleep Token, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not exaggerating when I say that's what the three twats want metal to be. They literally don't want it to be anything more than that. This is more about being on the outsider fringe of society, the outsider fringe of social acceptance, than it is about enjoying the music. Which, by the way, if you're somebody who prioritizes being on the outside, prioritizes being on the loner fringe of society, I've got news for you. You don't care about being on the loner fringe of society. You're trying to make yourself feel good about the fact that you're inherently unlikable. Till next time, friends. Anyway, but those three twats that want metal to be played to, want all metal shows to be traditional or true metal shows. They want them all to be played to 6 people in somebody's backyard, and that's it, and it never gets more popular than that. Here's the thing you need to understand. Your music, now, first of all, not everybody is a bitter, angry little shit like you. Some people, the people who actually value metal and actually want to see it do well, would like to see more bands playing larger venues. Metal is, let's try to agree on something. Metal is very loud, very passionate, very anthemic music. And it is meant to be played on huge stages all over the world. Metal should be played to tens of thousands of people when any metal band comes to town. That is the kind of audience it is supposed to have. The people who have convinced themselves that all metal bands are supposed to sleep in vans and play to 3 people in a water closet in the middle of East Chitlin Switch, Arkansas. Those people that think it's all metal shows are supposed to be tiny and compact as hell. Those are toxic assholes. Those are the people we don't need. What we need is Sleep Token and bands that are successful like Sleep Token. And here's the thing, If what you like is Burzum and Mayhem and Cannibal Corpse and Carcass and extreme stuff, which I love all of those bands I just mentioned. If you love that stuff and you want that to be successful, now and understand, if you want people to keep bringing you this music, they have to be able to be successful at it. They have to be able to make money at it. If you are someone who's saying that metal bands should make no money and just do it to please the community, fuck you. Who is John Galt at that point? No, if you want metal bands to be able to deliver you a good product, you need to accept that the music business is a business and they need to be able to make money at it. And to make money, there has to be people that are willing to patronize it and people that are willing to support it. And in this current situation we're in, most money, if money is made at all in music, is made off of the live shows. There's no money left in, thanks to digital, there's no money left in albums. Okay. So, or recorded music, I should say. Okay, so here's the thing you have to understand. If you want to go to a Cannibal Corpse show with 1,500 people, then Sleep Token needs to be playing to 10,000 people. And I know that doesn't make much sense, but let me try to explain it from a business standpoint. First of all, obviously a rising tide lifts all boats. And so if mainstream heavy metal music is popular, and if mainstream heavy metal music is popular, then that creates a downward cycling sales funnel of interest in the outer extremes of heavy metal music. The Cannibal Corpse, Burzum, Dark Throne, all of that stuff. I'm not really a Dark Throne fan. I know that's a spicy hot take, but I really only liked Soulside Journey, and I've never cared for anything else they did. But anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, so the thing is now, what is a sales funnel? Well, I have a background in sales and digital marketing and branding and that sort of thing. And let's say that let's say that to give you an idea of what a sales funnel is, a sales funnel begins with the large number of people who see your advertisement and funnels down to the small number of people who actually buy it. Let's say, for example, that I have a product that I want to sell for $100. And so I have a $10,000 advertising budget to spend on Facebook. So I go to Facebook and I say, I've got this product, my demographic, my target demographic is, let's say, recent female retirees in the northeast part of the United States. Okay, I work out this demographic, so I'm selling to. So I give that information to Facebook, to the ads management program on Facebook, and it comes back with, okay, for $10,000 over, let me redo my numbers, $5,000. For $5,000 over the course of 30 days, we will get your advertisement out to 10,000 people. And they'll say, what is the purpose of this advertisement? And I say, well, I want to generate click-throughs to a sales page to get people to actually purchase it. Okay, so what we've created here is multiple tiers of a sales funnel, where the first tier of the funnel is the advertisement itself. Facebook takes that money, takes $5,000 and gets my advertisement out to 10,000 people. And I'm not saying these would be exact numbers. I'm just for Facebook on that scale. I'm just saying, using these numbers to make a point. Okay, so they get it out to 10,000 people, and 10,000 people. I check the metrics that they're sending me every day, and by the end of 30 days, 10,000 people, yes, have indeed seen this ad, maybe even a little more. And so 10,000 people see the ad. Now we go down to the next tier of the sales funnel, which is the click-through rate. The click-through rate was what we were trying to get to from the top. So the click-through rate, let's say out of 10,000 people, 4,500 click on the advertisement to be taken to the sales page. Okay, so we have 4,500 now. That might not sound like much out of 10,000, but that's actually a 45% click-through rate is actually pretty good. So 4,500 people click through, and we take out of those people, they click through to the product page, to the splash page for ordering the product or for more information on the product. And out of those people, 2,000 clicked through to the order page, and out of those people, 750 actually bought the product. Now, that might sound like, you might think, well, you reached out to 10,000 people and only got 750. That's not very many. Well, the thing is, if 750 people bought my $100 product, then I have now made $75,000, which is a $70,000 profit. So you see how a sales funnel actually works. We whittle it down to the small number of people that would actually buy the product. And so that, I bring that up as a metaphor because if you care about metal, think about it this way. This music continues to thrive and continues to be relevant because new people are discovering it and getting into it. Metalheads, metal is a music that, as we know, is one of those lifestyle things. Once you're into it, people who get into metal tend to be into it for life. People who get into, I should say, like the extreme forms of metal, tend to really get into it for life. So let's think about this. If we were to imagine the most commercial bands, metal bands out there, the ones that are arguably straddling the gap between heavy metal and hard rock. I'm talking about Slippery When Wet era Bon Jovi and that kind of thing. If we think about those uber commercial bands, let's say those are the bands that generate the initial interest in heavy guitar-oriented, heavy distorted guitar-oriented music in general. And let's say Bon Jovi does a tour and 100,000 people attend that show. Or let me modify that. Let's say 100,000 newly initiated metal fans emerge because of that show. They've played to 10,000 people, or 100,000, millions of people worldwide, and the result of that tour is now 100,000 people are interested in heavy metal and hard rock and all of that in general. They want to find more. Those people who are interested in more than just Bon Jovi, they want to click through to the next tier of the sales funnel. Okay, that next click through is going to be getting into bands that are still, the bands that, going from the bands that were purely mainstream commercial artists down to the bands that started out in the underground and became mainstream commercial successes. So that's going to be your Metallicas and your Megadeths and your Slipknots and things like that. And if they're getting into that, out of that, let's say, that 100,000 people now moves on to this next stage, and out of that 100,000, 60,000 of them, more like 40,000 of them, 40,000 of them decide that they want to go on to the next stage of being a metal fan, which is getting into, the even more extreme esoteric bands. The bands, now they want to get into Death, the Chuck Schuldiner Death, and Morbid Angel and Celtic Frost and all of this stuff. And those are very generous numbers, but you see where I'm starting to go with that. The new fans, the fans that are going to go eventually get all the way down to this very, very, this very, very constrained concept of metal, what we call true metal and everything. People that are going to be true lifelong metalheads. those people that are going to be a member of the heavy metal community for life. Those people are going to begin with the most accessible version of what it is we have to offer. And they're going to delineate all the way down to eventually being a diehard metal fan for life. So don't crap on them when they're at the Sleep Token level. Don't crap on them when they're at the Bon Jovi level. Open doors for them. Be more inviting. Don't tell them they're not metal. Don't tell them they're not welcome. If you value this music, if you want it to continue, if you want it to prosper across the ages, if you want to see, like I said, if you want to see Cannibal Corpse playing to 1,500 people, then you need to have Sleep Token playing to 10,000 people. That's how this works. Now, if you are the kind of obnoxious little twat that has to stand in the back of the room with your arms crossed and a disgusted "I just smelled a fart" look on your face, and make sure that everybody there knows what a bad time you're having, if you're that kind of a person, then everything I just said means nothing to you. But if you're a person who actually does value metal music, then you need to realize that this is the mindset that you need to have. If you want more of those lifelong metalheads that are going to preserve the legacy of metal, don't crap on them when they're at the Bon Jovi level, when they're enjoying metal at the Bon Jovi level. Now, the other thing to remember is that if you value metal and you value the scene, every genre, the evolutionary principle of survival being based on adapting to change is true of musical genres as well. Everybody wants to crap on Metallica for going mainstream in the 90s. First you wanted to crap on them for the Black Album, then you wanted to crap on them for Load and Reload and all that. I understand Saint Anger was a step back. I think we all agree on that. But here's the thing, Sunshine. If Metallica embracing alternative rock in the 90s helped lay the groundwork for Korn and Limp Bizkit and Marilyn Manson and Rammstein and all of that to emerge in the nu metal movement and keep metal alive in a form, even if it's a form you don't like. It kept heavy music at the forefront. And that is what has allowed metal to continue to thrive and continue to be popular, is when the people at the front of the vanguard of the movement are adapting to change and incorporating new ideas. That the title of the In Flames album, Reroute to Remain, is a very apropos title. And so that's what we need. We need more Sleep Tokens. We need more people that are trying new things and innovating. That is crucial. This music that we all love, all the way down to the denim and leather, Nuwabum era metal stuff, all the way down to that, to the most traditional, it will stagnate and it will die out if we do not continue to evolve it. And if you don't believe me, stop and think about the fact that 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago, ragtime was the #1 popular genre of music. Ragtime artists that were on the level of Metallica at the time. And ragtime was a very specific genre with a very specific fixed set of musical ideas, and it died out when the popularity of other newly emergent genres took its place. There's really no such thing as progressive ragtime. There's no such thing as traditional ragtime. There's no such thing as ragtime fusion or anything like that. It was just an extraordinarily popular genre, and then just like that, it was gone. And all of the brilliant people, Scott Joplin and all of these brilliant musicians that were writing rags, are largely forgotten to music history. I'm not forgotten. They're not forgotten to music history. Scott Joplin remains important historically. They're lost to contemporary awareness. They wrote amazing, beautiful music, but sadly, it stagnated and was forgotten. Is that what you want for metal? Again, if you're the little twat that thinks that the only metal shows that should ever happen are, being played to backyard barbecues where there's as many people in the audience as there are people on the stage, if that's your attitude, then fine. You can think whatever you want, but don't act like you're the one that cares about the metal community or you're the one that cares about the scene. Don't act like that. You're the one who is ruining metal. You are the one who is hastening its departure from cultural awareness. And don't think for a minute, just because, we've got 50 years worth of great metal bands now. You're right, we've got 50 years of metal to look back upon. If we say that, the beginning, the first Black Sabbath album was the genre defining first metal album. We got 50 years of metal, more than 50 years now. But don't think for a minute that 50-year legacy is anything other than a drop in the bucket. There's decades worth of great ragtime, and it's lost to the ages. I don't want metal to be lost to the ages. I feel like metal is the culmination of so much musical innovation, and not just musical innovation, but technological innovation. It is an art form that was emergent from from an early fusion of musical acoustics and electrical technology, and that's incredible. And so I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose metal. And I want metal to always be played to 10,000 people. Every good metal band, in my opinion, at least deserves, even if it's not realistic, they at least deserve to be playing to 10,000 people a night, because that's the kind of music it is. And so if you want this to continue, you need to be proud and happy when bands are breaking through and becoming big and famous like Sleep Token. Don't be the obnoxious little twats in the back of the room that think they're cool because they're not having fun. You've got 80 years on this earth, maybe a little more if you're lucky, probably a little less. Try to have fun. Try to have a good time. And try to understand that nothing exists in a vacuum. And you being an obnoxious little twat because things aren't exactly like you want them to be, and you're incapable of enjoying anything that's outside of your narrow, tiny little box. Try to understand that that's not helping anyone, least of all you. Now go back and watch this video again and take a drink every time I've said the word twat.